Hey, good evening, everybody. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic evening. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear on a Wednesday evening. I'm glad that I'm glad that you're all here. Dungeon Minister is out there quoting the late great Mitch Hedberg, absolutely fantastic guy. You know, I used to do drugs. I still do them, but I also did them in the past. Anyway, hello, unregistered hypercan malarkey of the OSR Dungeon Minister, Joe Facetious Grimhammer, St. Cuthbert, TB Flowers. Who else is out there? Timothy Imholt. Hey, there's a guy. How you doing, sir? How you doing? Michael, good to see you too. Anyway, Lord Misfit Kabuki Kid, thank you for stopping in. Wonderful to see you at this late hour, my dear. But anyway, so welcome one and all, everybody. Late evening show, guys. I'm just chilling out. No particular agenda on the list. I just want to be here and talk TTRPGs and other cool stuff with y'all. Kyle's out tonight. Oh, thank you for your compliment, Lord Misfit. Let's see how you feel in 6 or 8 months about the shorts. Let's see how you feel. You know what though? If they drive me up to 10,000 subs, then I will. I will take whatever slings and arrows people throw at me about how I feel, how they feel about doing the shorts. Michael Connor, good to see you. Yes, Stargate, I heard about it. So yeah, I'm doing wonderful this evening. So I want to jump into some cool game related content, but before I get into that, guys, let me ask you a favor. Would you do me a favor? Can I impose on you guys to do me a little bit of a favor? If you haven't already done so, would you please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications, because that is the way to get this channel up. I want to see those numbers go up. I want to hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel, guys. Because when I hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to celebrate that. We're going to have a 10,000 subscriber face conceal. That's right. I am going to conceal my face on video so you guys will no longer have to know exactly what I look like. Won't that be cool? Okay, maybe not, but no, in all seriousness, 10,000 subscribers, which we are 2,255 away from, which seems so obtainable. When you stop and think that this year started at 6,000 subscribers, guys. I want to put that in perspective for you. This year of our Lord 2025 started at 6,000 subscribers. We are at 7,745 subscribers now. When we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to have an in real life convention. The Guac will become Guac. That's right. The Great Underground Online Gaming Convention will become the Great Underground Overland Gaming Convention. And I am hyped about the very idea. I don't know why I've waited. I mean, Dungeon Minister did it with like 8 parishioners, a like torn in half copy of Menser Basic, and some Monopoly dice that he took from the church rec room. So as far as I'm concerned, I have no excuse now, except I am wedded to this idea of let's do it at 10,000 subs. So I'm hyped about that, about it getting ever closer, and it looks like the booster rocket, the vitamin acceleration I have gotten on the subs has been the YouTube shorts. So I'm really, really pleased that those please you guys, because we got so many more coming. I have like a month of shorts, and that may not sound like a lot. That's 3 a day. I have 90 shorts outlines ready to go, guys. I've got enough to carry us well past uh December into January. So please keep telling folks about the show. Please keep throwing the likes and the subscribes and that sort of thing, and we'll make everything else happen. We'll make everything else work. And I love you guys for it. I really do. I appreciate all that you guys do. I couldn't do that. I couldn't get to 10,000 without you guys. I know on the face of it that seems like a tautology. I need 10,000 people to subscribe so I can have 10,000 people to subscribe. But the reality is that this core, you guys who turn in night after night after night after night after night, you show up, you sit, you watch, and you tell people the good news. The people commenting on the shorts, by and large, it's you guys. There's a lot of outreach going on, and a lot of people, they want more of that content, so they click subscribe. But the people engaging with it and driving the engine are you guys, are my closely held. I just right here, that's you guys, and thank you everyone so much. Already with the questions, there's a newish game that uses Yahtzee mechanic. Not shocking. Stargat, is that it? It's just going to be Teal'c. Teal'c goes to Los Angeles to help clean it up. Stargat. But anyway, Dungeon Minister wants to know, what do I edit the shorts on? I have Filmora. And what it's just, I go to Filmora, I throw a bunch of pictures in sequence, and I put sequence transitions between the pictures and the clips that I do. That's it. That's all. As far as the audio goes, I wish I had it set up. I would play some of the audio, some of the good audio, when I do the shorts audio before I go in and I start cutting it up, because you guys hear me talk all the time and there's pauses in everything I say. The way I sound on those videos is not how I sound live. And like right there, I paused and I took a deep breath. I go in and I slice all those out. I could probably put together half an hour of just that. Except it would sound like heavy breathing, and that would be like incredibly creepy. So I don't want to do that. But I go and I cut out all the pauses just like that. I call them the Pinter pauses, or the Shatner breaths. I just chop all those out and I cram the words together. As far as the voice, I did this a little bit last night, and I'm going to kind of show you guys again. Step one, I eat the mic. I get up on the mic as hard as I can. And then this is hard to read. Hang on. And then I read my copy. I drop my voice like as low as I can get it and it not sound ridiculous. This is like Gary Owen. Those of you guys who remember, Gary Owen would announce game shows and laugh in and stuff like that. Did you know that in the late 1980s, TSR approached Games Workshop, yes, that Games Workshop, to purchase the company? When D&D was first released in the mid-1970s, the small Games Workshop store, known primarily for selling wooden chess sets and board games, purchased a few original D&D sets directly from TSR, who then contacted them and made them the UK's first TSR distributor. Over the years, as the company grew, TSR took an interest in them, especially following the popularity of D&D related features in Games Workshop's White Dwarf magazine, and offered to buy the company outright. Games Workshop declined, however, and TSR instead founded TSR UK. Games Workshop would go on to publish Warhammer's Fantasy Battles, a role-playing game based on the Warhammer fantasy world, and of course, Warhammer 40,000. And that's what I do. That's what I do. I do that, and then I shoot those audios across the network. I shoot those to the edit PC. I go in and I chop out all the false takes. The blooper reels aren't very entertaining. They're not very funny. But I chop out all the false takes. I trim those as close on either end as I can get them. I go in and I cut out the pauses. And then before I export it as an MP3, I increase the gain. And then when I put the video pieces together, before I save it again, when I re-import the MP3, I increase the gain again. So you get a clear, mellow thing. Thank you, Bingo Man Zero. I appreciate it. Don McVitie, good to see you. Kabuki Kid says, I think the gain may be slightly high right now. I was probably on it a little bit more in actuality than I usually am, Kabuki. But yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. And when I'm editing sometimes, like if you guys go back and you listen to the shorts, there's crackles, there's static crackles in them and everything. And some people have said, oh, you need to get a noise gate, you need to get a better soundboard and everything. And that may be, but guys, I am on such a limited budget. You have no idea how limited my budget is. I mean, all the gear is secondhand. It's all secondhand. The new stuff is things like the camera was bought new. The boom that the camera was on was bought new. The lights are like ultra cheap, but they were bought new. And the monitor stand was bought new. But the microphone, the monitors, the PC are all used stuff. Not that I don't appreciate it, because it was donated, and I absolutely love them. Mobius, good to see you. Yeah, I'm getting subs from them. You feel the shorts rotting your brain. There's a reason. Sorry, dude. If I switched over just to doing shorts, I mean, yeah, I would say, oh God, I've lost the plot. I've just switched over the brain rot stuff, but I haven't. Okay. This is like informative historical YouTube channels. Jesus Christ. Forgive me, Father, and Father, for the well, damn, dude. Thank you. Wow. Now I just want to indicate something. If Paul the Fighter is suspiciously never hit by rolls that should have, who'll match him? Who will match? I'm just kidding. Good Lord, man. God bless you. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, man. That is that is phenomenal. I'll have to talk for like 3 hours before that'll tick down and auto expire off now that I put it up there. I I'm a little breathless here, dude. Um, damn, you can uh Robert Phillips, Delver's eating food for Thanksgiving. I wish this won't arrive until December. I'll eat food for Christmas. How about that? For Christmas, I'll have food. Man, I wow. My brother, I appreciate it. I really do. I'm 80% of your entertainment. Never go full DSP. No, 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 no. Never go full DSP. Broken super chat mechanics. See, Michael and I both have some internet personality brain rot going on. Um. Anyway, anyway. So that's how I make YouTube shorts. Probably some weird workers. Um. Now I want to say something right here. I want to be very clear on one thing is I love you all and appreciate you all, whether you leave super chats or not. People who leave super chats, like this isn't a contest, right? Like if you've left me a super chat, you're like, I'm gonna donate Bill I got $5 to spare. I can send Bill. Don't feel like you know. See, Grimhammer's doing it on the installment plan. Gonzalo. He's just a little bit at a time. Um, but I gotta scroll back up. But no, yeah, I appreciate regardless of what it don't ever sit out there and say, well, shit, I can't do that. Because I love you guys regardless of whether you super chat, you're on the Patreon or not. Camelot Gaming says just got word that an RPG back last year finally started. Well, what don't keep us in suspense, Camelot. What is it? What is it? Tell us what it is. I got a little bit of unboxing action, not really unboxing, but kind of reveal action going on. I've been telling you guys that we're going to do the Dice Advent calendar. We started on December 1st. We roll through the 24th, no pun intended, with the Dice Advent calendar. I got the dice today. They're absolutely gorgeous. Most of them are going into the Advent calendar itself. But I got some extras from Rose, the creator. Would you guys like me to share the dice, the extras that I have with you? She sent me like 2 Christmas ornament dice, one for each of my daughters, a D8 and a D10, that are glorious. They're in little gilt frames. They're like it's a plaque. Like picture a plaque that's like maybe 2.5, 3 inches by an inch, with a gold metal frame around it, and then a dice stuck to it. Kabuki Kid absolutely wants to see him. Next War Taiwan. That's an RPG. Wow. That's like that. That literally sounds like a Victory Games or GDW or Avalon Hill game from the 90s. Oh, that is different. That is very different. Or is it Next War Tiawan? I'm not making fun. Literally is it Next War Tiawan or was it Next War Taiwan? Inquiring minds. Um. Okay, so let me go ahead and I guess I'll do this. The first the first set was it fulfilled like Robotech battles was out. You know, before I get into the dice, um I want to talk about that. Used to be sitting over here was the Robotech RPG Tactics set. The miniatures are real are pretty okay, not great. But they're pretty okay. Um I uh absolutely did not want to have that out anymore. I don't want to promote uh Kevin Shimbeda Harmony Gold Palladium, none of that anymore. I did not want any kind of promotion of that ruinous well, let's just call it what it is, fraud out there anymore. So I moved it up to a shelf. It's off camera, and I don't. I will put something else over here. I've got some room over here. I put one of the few existing ever retail Dwarven Forge boxes is over here. Um, Kabuki Kid, long story short, a company called Palladium back in the mid 1980s got the license to a role playing game called Robotech. And the debacle about Harmony Gold and Robotech, just setting all that nonsense aside, Robotech is basically Macross. Love, do you remember Super Dimension Fortress Macross? And um, the one good thing that I could say about Palladium, about Kevin Shimbeda, is that he made Macross a, a role playing game in the West, in North America. You could buy a Macross role playing game. About 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little further now, um, he decided he was going to kickstart crowdfund. I don't know if it was Kickstarter. He was going to crowdfund a miniatures war game like Warhammer, but set in the Macross Robotech thing. And people got hyped about it because they would have miniatures, they would have Macross miniatures and battles on the table, and it was on Kickstarter. And what happened was what ended up happening was um I, one of the things that happened I can't mention because it involves a horrifically taboo subject involving injury to not another person but yourself. And Kevin Simbada uh, is notorious for X was going wrong. I leaped in and fixed it. And what he means by that is a person did 90% of the work and then he fired them and came in and did the remaining work and then slapped his name on it, and that person didn't get paid. So um at least that's how it was explained to me. So Kevin uh took briefly, he took a ton of money for the Robotech RPG Tactics game. and there were delays. There were so many production delays. And then when he started sharing images of the plastic model pieces on sprues, people were like, you've photocopied the sprues, or your production company, Ninja Division, photocopied the sprues of Robotech models and then shrank those down and cast did your castings based on that. And the detail didn't look great and people were really unhappy about it. That's right. Malarkey of the OSR. I'm getting my wires crossed, but yes, you are correct. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Camelot, nobody plays it. Nobody plays it. Anyone who bought it uses the miniatures for their own Macross games. Nobody plays it. They are worthless. They are worthless unless you want to play a Macross Robotech game that isn't Robotech Tactics. Well, here's the thing. People were like, where's my set? Where's my booster pack? Where's this, and this? Where's all this stuff? And Kevin went to a big gaming con. I don't know if it was Gen Con, but he showed up at a gaming con when he was telling people, yeah, you're going to get your sets. We're doing this, we're doing that. He showed up with a truckload of Robotech Tactics and started selling them. Retailers were selling them. So retailers and con goers got them before that. And then things that were supposed to be backer, like only backers get this, started showing up on retail shelves. Yeah, the Harmony Gold thing, I would be here all night talking about that. Let's look at some dice, though. Let's look at some dice. So, Robotech Tactics, RPG Tactics is gone. I wouldn't hate to have a set to assemble and put together my own just to play a Macross RPG with, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So my friend Rose sent me the dice. She sent me some extras. She sent me some goodies for the kids. And one of the things she did was she located a perfect set, like a perfectly good set of basic D&D dice, the ones that came in the box sets, the magenta, not the Holmes dice, but the magenta and then later red box sets. You got a crayon, you colored them in. TSR also sold them in blisters called Dragon Dice. You guys remember the sectioned off blisters? She got a hold of some of those dice in perfect condition. She is really talented at doing resin casting. She made molds and started resin casting some of those dice, and she sent me some. So let's take a look at that first. Let me see if this is going to show up here good. Let's go to tripod cam. Now, I haven't colored these in. I wonder, I'm gonna try and zoom down into those. This is always kind of an iffy thing. But let me see if I can zoom in to these. Let's see, properties. That's not it. Is it Longitude? Yeah, it's properties. Configure video. Let's see. Camera control. See if it'll let me zoom it. It's about as zoomed as I can get. But you guys can see they are, and that is not the camera blown out. She did like a brown and white marble scheme on those. But these are high impact. These are high impact resin, not the low impact soft plastic that TSR used. So these will these will definitely last a really long time. I think I might be able also see if I can do this. Yeah, I can just kind of zoom. I can manually zoom that in, but they're the exact size because they're made from the real dice themselves. I have been coloring them in. That they're not crumbly. That's what the white flaky stuff is. I've been coloring them in. Let me take the camera light the light down just a little bit. So it's a little less blown out. You guys can get an idea there of what she's doing. And before anybody asks, yes, I have already requested some powder blue, maybe some orange and some red. Um, Michael Connor, take care. What is that red pull? That is a dice tray. She made me a little skull shaped dice tray, which I thought was pretty nice. I'll move the dice and show that to you guys. Will these sets be okay? This is a good question. This is a good question. I'm going to have Rose on as a guest on the show. I would very much like her to be here. Maybe she'll dip in on Christmas night. I don't know. But ask her then. She and I have talked about it, and I'm not going to say, oh yeah, absolutely. I hope she does because I think there's a market for it. I absolutely think there's a market for it. So let me move the dice and I'll show you guys the dice tray. So you can see, yeah, it's a little skull motif dice tray there, and I quite like it. I'm just gonna center and zoom and get right back down to it. Okay. He has a hard nose. That's right. Oh, that's very cool. So you're not just supporting a local game store, you're supporting a local creator, a local maker too. And I think that's wonderful. There, Malarkey. Instant Charlie says he'd pick up a set or two. I mean, I'll tell her. I'll tell her tonight. I'll shoot her a message and let her know that people are interested. I know that Threshold Dice Works does these like on an industrial scale. So even if she doesn't, you guys do have a source for it. It's just that Threshold Dice Works does runs of them. He like and when he sells out, that's it. That's it. I don't think he does a regular, like I have a store and you can go buy these. If I'm not right about that, if you guys have been following Threshold Dice Works and you're like, no, Bill, he does have them, just keeps them in stock regularly, please say so. Please say so. But let me go back and show you guys some of the other dice that she's done. The most of the dice are in the advent calendar now, which you guys will see in a few days. But I will I will show you guys a Gonzalo. Pardon me. I'm gonna hide your super, so I've got a little bit more screen real estate here. Charming Grimhammer. Anyway, let me hop over here. Now these two right here, you can see the they're a little bit better defined, and you can see the numbers. She went ahead and colored these, but those are also cast off of Dragon Dice Masters. So you can really get a feel for how well she can work. And yeah, they're a translucent red and green. And the next ones are really neat. The next ones are really, really cool. Oh, wow. Focus. Was the dice tray all that was giving it focus? Hang on. Let me jump in there. Glaucoma vision. Are those old Dwarven Forge tiles? No, those are relatively new Dwarven Forge tiles. Let me make this focus here. There we go. That's better. That's, well, not quite better. Trying to get it. And I'll zoom in on this a little bit more so you guys can see. These are clear acrylic and they have skulls in them. They have little tiny skulls in them. So she didn't just copy the TSR dice. She put tiny red and green skulls. Actually, I think they're all red in these three in the TSR dice. Maybe they'll show up better against a white background. Let me try that. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. So you can see that there are skulls floating inside there. And that's really neat. Is there anything skulls don't make more badass? No, and in fact, Glenn Danzig sang a whole pan to it. I want your skulls. I need your skulls. Yes, that was the only like blank white piece of paper I could find, and that happens to be the envelope, the little Christmas card that she put in the set of dice came in. So that's just a taste of the acumen she has at making dice, and it is really quite phenomenal. And I uh I'm honored. I am honored to put her stuff in the in this year's Christmas dice advent uh calendar. I really was. Now, I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this last night, but if you are if you are looking to do a Christmas dice advent calendar, to give a Christmas dice advent calendar, this is not an affiliate thing. I can't really point you in anything. If you go to Amazon and look up D&D Christmas dice advent calendar, last year at this time, when I wound up with that horrible AI slop, I could only find one on eBay that I could get in a reasonable amount of time that wouldn't cost an arm and a leg. And well, what happened last year? What happened last year? Um, so yeah, but now on Amazon, yeah, anywhere from 20 to $60, amazing Christmas dice advent calendar sets, and you can get them at your house like tomorrow. Just there you go. So if you want to do a Christmas dice advent calendar for a loved one or something like that, now's your chance. Now's your chance. And by the way, this doesn't just pertain only to Christmas dice, but to anything. Don't give advent calendars as Christmas gifts. Give them at the beginning of the month. Say, here, take this, open this. Don't just give them as Christmas gifts. Because a Christmas advent calendar on Christmas Day, it's like, all right, you know, give it is something they can open the entire month. Gonzalo with the REM. We're sharpening stones, we're walking on coals to improve her dice making acumen. You know, that it like that was what you give advent calendars for April Fools. Nice. Um but I will I will say this about that song. That is Gonzalo, is that local Oddfellows? The title of that song? Or is that song Strange? I honestly can't remember. Thank you, Death Angels. Take care. Exhuman McCarthy. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's on the B side of Document. It's one of the couple of songs that precedes It's the End of the World as We Know It. But even when I was a kid and I heard that line, we're sharpening stones, we're walking on coals to improve our business acumen. Um, what that line refers to is in the 80s there was this insane business psychology approach, and people may still do it nowadays, but big businesses in America would send their MBAs to retreats where for like a weekend or a week or something like that during the summer, You would do these team building exercises where you would live like in a primitive village, and the whole thing would culminate. You would do a fire walk, but like, you'd knack spear points and arrows and make fish traps and stuff like that. Oh, excellent, Don. That's wonderful, man. Um, but when I was listening to the song, because you'd read about it in Time magazine and stuff like that back in the 80s. You'd have these yuppie middle management types who would get sent out by GM or IBM or Hewlett Packard or whoever, Coca-Cola, to go uh and so it was supposed to like make you a more creative thinker and open up the third eye and that sort of thing. And they slipped that line in there. They slipped that line in Exhume and McCarthy from the refrain, where we're sharpening stones, we're walking on coals to improve our business acumen. And it's just a ridiculous, the concept is ridiculous. I mean, if it worked somebody, then God bless them. Or if it worked for somebody, then God bless them. But and of course REM had their very tongue-in-cheek cynical humor take to it. Dude ranches, yes, dude ranches, same thing, same vibe, same energy. So anyway, that little diversion aside, one thing I had asked about this over on X, Odd Scimitar, good to see you, my friend. I had asked about this over on X, and I'm going to do this. Basically, I'm going to go through. I have some fantastic interviews with fantastic people on my channels that I can mine for YouTube Shorts, because I think there's some very funny bits. And here's the thing. I know a lot of you guys go back and you watch the videos, but there's like 4 hours of Jim Ward interviews. Or no, I'm sorry, no, there's not 4 hours of Jim Ward interviews. There's 4 Jim Ward interviews of multiple hours length. The Gary interview clocks in at about an hour. The Stoic Army Painter, hello, good to see you. Welcome. But there's so much of that I am going to go through and find some really cool sound bites to put in there. I feel like there's one or two things, and I'll tell you guys a funny story about the YouTube Shorts stuff in just a minute. To the person who just messaged me, and you know who you are, congratulations, that's wonderful. But anyway, so one of the YouTube Shorts I was going to do today, and I'm still going to do it. Baby on board, something Jim Ward. I'm still gonna do this video when I have time, because sometimes they're done somewhat hastily, or like I will concept the video, outline the video, gather some clips, and then get ready to type up a script. But I want my scripts to be factual. Okay. Like one of the things that I hit on, and I will tell you about this. Jim Ward for years, like if you had asked me yesterday or the day before yesterday, first science fiction RPG ever, Jim Ward, not true. Ken St. Andre beat him out just a little bit. I don't even remember what his science fiction RPG was. But yeah, Ken St. Andre released a science fiction RPG before Jim did Metamorphosis Alpha. And so that's why my the intro to my video is not, did you know that the first ever science fiction role-playing game was released by TSR and written by Jim Ward? Because it wasn't Jim. It was Ken St. Andre. So that's why I said one of the first. No, it wasn't Traveler in 1977, and it wasn't Metamorphosis Alpha in late 76. He got beat out by a few months. So I sat down today because on my or not today, last night when I was typing things up, on my outline list was for Wednesday videos, what a bitch Lorraine Williams was. Emphasize her cuntiness and talk about how bad she was. And that's always a good topic. And so I sat down to type it up. Thank you very much, Kabuki Kid. If anyone would like me to keep doing the announcer voice for the rest of this evening, go ahead and throw me a super chat. Any value will do. That may be harder than Alex Jones. One just dropped while I'm speaking. No, tonight's have been out since 4:00 this afternoon. You're just getting notifications. You're just getting notifications. Tonight's dropped this afternoon. So yeah, I did a Google search. There are people out there, and this shouldn't shock me. This is not going to stop me from talking about my low opinion of Lorraine Williams, although those are worthless now. Yeah. Try 100,000 of them, Odds and Matar. They're valueless. Just send me 100,000 of them. Gonzalo, I'm gonna sticky that and come back to it because that's a very good question. So there are people so desperate to tear Gary down that they will support Lorraine Williams and what she did and the way she behaved and call criticism of her misogyny and fat shaming. That RPG.net, EN World, other web fora, other formats, Twitter, and so on. Well, people who complain about Lorraine Williams, they just don't like women, and they don't like fat people. So rather than send my blood pressure through the roof, I just decided to move on. I will circle back around to that. I will gather notes from Jim, from interviews I did with Jim, notes from Gary, interviews. And hey, before anybody says, well, Gary ran off, she was just mad at her because she wouldn't let him buy the company. Gary hired her, and Jim had to work with her. So yeah, a Lorraine Williams short video is coming. But that was just kind of one of the funny production things that sometimes comes up. I sit down to do a video and I'm like, I'm going to find this stuff. Ken St. Andre beat Jim Ward out of the gate with a science fiction TTRPG. A bunch of mental cases on RPG.net and Reddit think that Lorraine Williams was just the bee's knees. So there we go. Anyway, I want to answer Gonzalo's questions. I want to answer. Hey, Gonzalo, you want to come on? You want an invite? If I throw you an invite, you want to come on? But anyway, Gonzalo asked, do I have any locations? Well, I mean, it's going to be here in Central Florida. It's going to have to be here in Central Florida. I mean, even if I just had the money to just like wave a wand and have it anywhere I wanted to, I would still do it in Central Florida. I mean, this is where my logistics hub is. This is where, like, I forgot X. I'll go back to the house and get it, or I am completely clapped out. I'm going to go home and nap for a little while, or, I'm going to go home and eat and then I'll be back here. Or, I have to print up X. I'll go home and print up X. So it's going to be here in the Central Florida area. Gonzalo can sing REM if he goes on. Only if he sings REM's cover of Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith. So yeah, I'll throw out an invite real quick here. But yeah, I mean the guac, which guys, it's gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. I have picked up 7 subs since 4:00 today, which is like, that's not the oh my god, Wizards of the Coast accidentally to the internet level of subscribing, but I've done the math. It's holding steady. I've done the math. 4 to 6 months. 4 to 6 months. And I've got the 2K plus I'll get. You have some family that live in Central Florida, so if there's an in-person guac, you'll be... When, my friend, when? By the way, Toys in the Attic, I think, is a better song than Walk This Way. I honestly believe that. I think Let the Music Do the Talking is a better song. Anyway, let me do this. I already said that, so let me do this, and let me throwing out the invite here. Copy. I want you guys to think about this. Like, you are driving home, like you've done a late shift somewhere. You're driving home and you've got drive time radio is all you have to listen to. You live in a market where it's just drive time talk radio. You're listening to WBIL and the Sports Monster. We'll be right back after this word from our station sponsors. So, will the warning be? Yeah. I mean, I gave them a Discord channel. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bring anything to autograph. Anyway, hey, guess who just walked in the studio, everybody? Please put your hands together for a dude. He plays AD&D with us on Tuesday nights recently, and he's a really swell dude, and I like him a lot. So everybody, please welcome, without further ado, Gonzalo Lira's bar tab. Gonzalo.
Sir, I am not worthy. You are the engine that drives first edition Dungeons and Dragons in this multiverse.
I just stand on the shoulder of giants, my friends. And there's a lot of other great creators.
I see what you did there. I have to tell you, what was the song you were talking about? The cover song, Toys in the Attic. Yeah, that was who did the original of that?
Aerosmith did the original.
Okay, Okay, I'm a big fan of the lead singer's daughter, not so much the band. Uh, but I like. Have you? Did you see the album? I think it wasn't eponymous. It was Dead Letter Office. Um,
Yeah.
they had what was the name of that song? Bandwagon. And
Uh-huh.
also they did an ad for Walter's Barbecue, which was a barbecue shop in Athens. Two
Yes.
great songs off that album. If anybody
Excellent.
is that nerdy into that. Someone is throwing popcorn. Robert Phillips
I
is.
well, I would just duck that, but I do want to say, Grimhammer, thank you for hanging out. Love your guts, man. Thank you very much for the super. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it, man.
Grim
Thank you.
Hammer and I have kind of a shining thing going on.
You do. You really do. So this is just one of the kind of open bar BS stories. You've seen The Shining, obviously, Gonzalo, right?
Yes.
Okay, so before I get into the story, though, I want to ask you. You've seen the movie. Have you read the book?
I have not.
You have not read the book.
No.
Okay, then the question would not avail. And the question I like to ask people is: The Shining, book or film? The objective answer is both. Both are they are separate pieces of art
Well, it's
that
Kubrick,
share.
right? It's Kubrick did the film, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah. So
Kubrick.
so it doesn't. Yeah, you're not even. What the book is not even. Why are we even talking about the book? I'm sure it's fine, but Kubrick changes everything.
Yeah, Kubrick does. I'm sorry, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver stuck her head in there when we were talking about The Shining. She pushed the door open and said, "Here's mommy." So I had to. That was I was not laughing at you. I was not laughing at you.
I'd
But
say you can totally
anyway.
laugh at me.
Oh right, yes. My youngest daughter did a comparison between the book and the film for her homeschool book report. So but
Nice.
anyway, so yeah. But anyway, the subjective answer is the film. The film is head and shoulders better than the book. Stephen King was ass mad that Stanley Kubrick said, "This is nice, but I think I can make something a little bit better." Um, and so he did a made for TV version of The Shining, and it was not good. Um, but
That's the
I
story of
do,
Stephen King, isn't it? Made for TV movies up until 15 years
yeah,
ago or so.
yeah. Um,
Although,
although
sorry.
I no, I was just going to say the Toby Hooper directed Salem's Lot still scares the fuck out of me. That is a supremely upsetting movie. Like that movie causes upset, and it's just every kid in 1979 in fourth or fifth grade, was a badass right until little Billy Glick floated up and started scraping on the windows with his fingernails.
I
If
have
you
to
guys
be
are out
honest
there,
here.
you
My
know,
first
you know.
introduction to Stephen King in terms of reading one of his books was It. That was the first one I actually read.
Yes. That was, and there's that scene in It. I mean, I think that's all I really have to say about
There are
that.
some disturbing things. That was not necessary. You could cut that from the book and it would be fine, or replace it with something a little
Yeah.
more wholesome. But other than that, I do have to say it was a read that I spent my entire weekend in the barracks. I was in the military at this time in Germany in the 80s, and I spent my entire weekend reading that book.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I, I think the film, The Shining, is just stands, just towers over the book. And I think King knew that. I think as soon as he bitched about, you changed this and you changed that. Stephen, I've read your book. Okay. your book needed what he did to it. But with that said, this has nothing to do with the book. It has everything to do with the film. Um, and I've told this story on air before, but Gonzalo, I don't know if you've heard this, but when we first moved to Florida, we had a local news reporter, a gentleman, he's no longer with us, by the name of Glenn Rinker. And so, we'd come in and he was a local CBS affiliate guy, graying, thinning hair, slightly broad-shouldered dude, just had that friendly but stentorian, authoritative voice to tell you what was going on around the Orlando area back in
Okay,
in
stop.
1980,
Stop.
81.
Stentorian. You're gonna have to explain that word to me. I do not know what that means.
It's very stern and clipped and directed. It's
Okay.
kind of like
Okay, thank you.
a drill instructor, not when he's pissed off at you.
I'm not a person who pretends he understands words that other people use. So if I hear a word I don't understand, I will stop the conversation to get a definition.
That's fine. I appreciate that. But anyway, so here's Glenn Rinker, and then 1981, I think, the local ABC affiliate shows The Shining. I mean, they paste parental warnings over. I think they learned their lesson with stuff like Salem's Lot from a few years prior to that. There's warnings up on it and everything. And we finally sit down. Actually, I think we saw it on HBO first. Myself and my cousin David watched it on Paul Harvey was another stentorian voice. Paul Harvey had a stentorian voice.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. That woman's name, Mamie Eisenhower. You know her as the wife of President Eisenhower.
And to you, Mr. and Mrs. Erotic American, I salute you.
So anyway, every American couple can be erotic Americans. Anyway, it's a Simpsons reference. You guys are going to have to go look it up. So,
trust me, this shit is so funny. When you look it up later, you're totally
you're going to laugh. So we're watching The Shining, and I'm seeing it for the first time on film on HBO. It's late at night, it's fucking midnight, and me and my cousin are just terrified out of our minds, but we can't turn the TV off.
Did you guys have the AB box, the little manual AB box at that time?
We had the slider.
Okay.
It had a little bulb behind it that would light up the channels 1 through 9, and then A through Z.
Did you have a key? Was there like a locking mechanism that your parents would like lock it and then put it someplace where you knew exactly where it was and you could just unlock it?
No, we did not.
Okay, we had
ours was just out, and we'd grab it, and we, anytime that Dad wanted to watch something up on ESPN, because that was on the far end of the slider, I was always more than happy because zit, just zip that slider over there, and then you're gonna break it. You're gonna break it, and then I'm gonna have to take it back to the cable company. But anyway, so we're watching The Shining, and the scene where Scatman Crothers is at his house in Miami. He's watching the local news report.
Hong Kong Phooey, by the way.
Yes. He's watching the local news report, and Kubrick, really, I got to hand it to Stanley Kubrick. He went out and got footage of when Scatman Crothers was watching TV. What he was showing on TV was an actual Fort Lauderdale, Miami news report, because the anchor man was Glenn Rinker. He had moved around several markets in Florida and had finished up his run before he passed away in Orlando. But when I saw The Shining, I was living in Orlando, so I saw Glenn Rinker every night on the 11 o'clock news, and here he is in this horror movie. And I like that really, as a kid, like that almost lifted the horror away from me for just a minute to appreciate the filmmaking acumen that Kubrick said, well, I think if we're going to have this scene, we need to have a we need to have something authentic looking. We can't just have a, don't just grab somebody from somewhere here in Pinewood and put him up in front of a white wall with a news affiliate looking sign behind him and have him try and fake an American accent. They went out and they got actual footage, and knowing Stanley Kubrick, they probably made Scatman Crothers lie there with a freaked out look on his face for like 9 hours trying to get the perfect shot. Yes.
Yes.
Kubrick was a perfectionist and famously a jerk. I will say this. Kubrick did all of the shots with Danny in one take. He did not make, unless he fell down or flubbed a line or like missed a cue or something like that. Danny Lloyd was one take only, and Kubrick, he said this very famously. Said, I never realized it was a horror movie. I thought it was like an adventure movie. That Kubrick and his parents kept him completely separate from the the frightful the frightful horror stuff. And that was I thought a really decent thing
I
of
can't
Stanley
I
Kubrick
can't
to do.
hear anything but Scatman Carruthers' voice in my head now.
Yeah.
He was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I believe,
Yep.
and he was in obviously The
Mother
Shine.
Jugs and Speed. He
Yeah,
was
Mother
in Mother
Jugs and
Jugs and
Speed.
Speed.
He was also in Zapped with
Yes.
Scott Baio.
Uh
Um, I'm trying to think of what other. Trying to get. I'm not gonna use AI or the internet. That's all I know for sure. Mother Jugs and Speed.
uh
That was with Cosby, right?
yes, that was
That's
with
right.
Cosby. He was in he was in the Aristocats. He voiced one of one
Oh,
of the alley cats in Aristocats. Um so
I mean, that
so
just brings back
yes.
the whole, Scatman Crothers, and like I said, I watched Hong Kong Phooey. I mean,
Mhm.
when you're growing up in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska in the early
Yep.
'70s, you're watching, all the cartoons from Farm Report to Soul Train,
From
and,
Farmer, absolutely, absolutely.
that's right.
It was for us, it was usually like if we got up early enough, it was like old, not great cartoons. So it was like, Clutch Cargo or Space Angel
Oh,
to
that was
Soul
way
Train.
cooler than Farm Report then, shit.
Yeah,
Way
um
cooler.
Magic Motion, it's just a still animation cell with a hole in the middle of it, and then a color match of an
Bob is
actor wearing
Oh, I'm sorry, go
carmine
ahead.
lipstick.
Bob is
uh
asking me if I'm a Nebraskan, and I lived in Nebraska for a couple of years in a town called Superior, which is like 2,500 people, and our only TV signal that we got was out of Red Cloud. I was there for only like a couple of years. I did
hmm,
go to a school where I was the only kid in first grade. It was literally like K through 12, and there were maybe biggest grade had 3 kids in it. A little, I mean, I'm
wow.
serious. I'm not joking.
Come home down from the valley with Mister when you're young. The
And then I
greatest
was
stuff to do.
it was a staggering progression, because then I went to the school that was in the city, so that was like an adjustment, and then I was thrust
Imagine.
into hardcore Kansas City '70s public school, where I got my ass beat on a daily basis for at least all of third grade. So
Yeah, I uh Now, I guess compared to where you grew up, I lived in a sprawling metropolis,
Yeah,
Gadsden, Alabama, which it had and has had a few notable historical occurrences around it. But Gadsden, Alabama, when we lived there in the 70s, I think had like 50,000 people in it. And we were making fun of Paul Harvey earlier, but I actually quite like Paul Harvey's uh,
sure. What's not to like?
approach. But Paul Harvey, the famous "So God Made a Farmer" speech, um, Paul Harvey wrote that as an op-ed in the Gadsden Times. He wrote that in 1976 and sent that in to our local newspaper after visiting farmers in a part of the county that Gadsden was located in, called Southside. Southside was a largely rural area. It still is, covered with farms, still is. But yeah, so
Do you have farming ancestors?
uh, ish, lots of odd jobs being done, but not people who specifically, I've worked this 500 acres and grown corn and beets and that for years. It was more subsistence farming than I'm gonna grow 5,000 bushels of
Well,
corn and sell them on the open market.
just so you don't get the wrong idea about growing up in Nebraska, I just do want to point out that we moved there after we lived in Canada with the hippies that I've mentioned before, and so my parents were hippies, and they thought you know what, we're gonna farm, and then they discovered that was actual work, so none of that shit happened at all.
Yeah, my but yeah, so growing up, we got affiliates out of Birmingham, and we got WTBS out of Atlanta. So unless it was a free cable weekend or the SFM Holiday Network weekend, remember those?
Did you get to go to the Sid and Marty Croft park? It was like a mini
Sid
Disneyland.
Sid and Marty Croft World in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Oh,
wait. I do not recall if we did. I was so young that I do not remember. Because, like, my dad, I found this out years and years and years later when I was an infant. Like, I mean, like 1, 2 years old. My dad used to get into the general admission at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium to watch the Braves play when Hank Aaron
I know.
was
I'm so
hitting home runs.
jealous. You've told me this before. Stop rubbing it in my nose, rubbing it in my face.
I didn't know. But
By the way,
yeah.
my dad watched Hank Aaron, the greatest.
Yeah. If we did, I don't remember it, but I think something that psychedelic would probably have impinged itself on my neurodevelopment that I would remember. It was only open for like a year.
Was it that short a time?
The reason it didn't run that long, the reason it did not run that long. Camelot Gaming, that's a good question. I'm going to pin that and I'm going to come back to that. But the reason it didn't do that long, it's not that it wasn't popular. People loved it. People freaking loved that thing. The thing about it was in downtown Atlanta. It was a theme park downtown. At best, you're going to have a multi-block walk to get to it because the building it was in, it was just on a city block in downtown. You had to find parking somewhere in downtown and then walk through the place, and you're going to spend all day. You're going to come out at night onto downtown city streets and try and skirt your way back to your car. So it suffered not from bad price. People that went there loved it. But it was in the wrong place. If they had put it out near Six Flags, if they had put it out near the Fulton County Stadium, even, it probably would have done well.
for you young kids in the 70s, downtown was not a good place to be anywhere in the United States.
No,
You did not
no,
want to be
no.
downtown in any city in the United States in the
I don't
70s.
I don't care where, north, south, east, west, Midwest, Pacific Northwest. No, just you do not.
Nope.
But anyway, so yeah, we got affiliates out of Atlanta, and so that's where I had my cinematic eye was open up. Like I saw THX 1138 when I was 7, I think. It was after Star Wars because they ran it on WTBS at from like it was a summer night, like midnight to 1:30
Okay,
or
as long as we're
1:45.
going down this nostalgia path, I want to stop you on the TBS thing there, because I have a memory of watching TBS on cable, and they would do this. There would be this show, and they would do. Uh, you would say over the phone, you would call in, and you would make noises to shoot at spaceships that would fly across the screen into, and you'd be like pow pow pow, and it would shoot when your voice made a sound. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, I don't. I I do remember because TBS started in 1971. We did. I don't. Were you watching? Yeah, you were absolutely watching the show last year when we did the Call of Cthulhu Shocktober, and all of the characters were media that just got hired at the brand new TV station in Atlanta, WTBS.
I
Did you
was
watch?
watching the show, however, that was on Friday nights, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So
So I've
you
got great old ones from Friday night. He's GMing me, and I'm having fun with that. I'm sorry I missed a lot of that. I did see some of it.
no, that's entirely okay. So TBS was very new at that time, and they had basically Ted Turner had a friend, a good friend by the name of Bill Tush, and Bill Tush did everything, everything. He did a ribald skit comedy show called simply Tush. He did Dialing for Dollars. He did the afternoon movie. He was a reporter. Um, the last time I saw him, he was doing human interest stories on CNN, but that was like 25 years ago. But I remarked on it with my father, who was still with me. Hey, Scootifier, are you so Mike, Scootifier Mike, right now? Are you done with work? Are you done with work right now? Let me know in the chat. So yeah, so Bill Tush was doing this, and I remarked on it with my dad. I'm like, I can't believe this guy is still doing it. And he said, son, he started on WTBS. He's probably doing that because he wants to. He's a good friend of Ted Turner's. He can quit anytime he wants. So, oh, you're on a lunch break. Okay. Um, but anyway, so yeah, that's that's just a little story of Atlanta TV and growing up in, again, to you probably what's young you would have been like, I'm in a gargantuan city. Like when we moved to Orlando in 1980, I was like, holy shit, this is like they have skyscrapers here, and this is a big town. I live in a big city now. This is a little bit intimidating.
I really would have been, because, believe it or not, the place I lived before Nebraska was in Canada, and I want to say it was a. I don't fully remember the name of the town, but it was, I think it was called Wakefield, and it was in Quebec, and it was like where all the hippies went who draft dodged, and that's where my parents took me, and I loved Canada. It's just very beautiful nature, but I mean, we lived in the middle of nowhere, like basically on a mountainside, like A-frame house style thing.
Wow, yeah. Um, Kabuki Kid, of course, because it always comes back to music. Isn't that a ZZ Top song? Yes. Lord, take me downtown. But I do want to answer this question because this is a good question. Camelot Gaming brought up. Since I brought it up on Monday, did I see any of that? Yes, I did. Very much saw satanic panic, moral panic stuff firsthand. Um, and I will tell you guys for free, I am going in 2026. There's something coming. This is the first time I mentioned this to anyone. Literally, I have this idea is only in my head and on notes on my PC. Something big, huge is coming production wise for me that has to do with the moral panic and so on. But that's all I'm going to say. Yes, I did. When I moved to Florida, I fell in love with D&D because my school chums all played it. And yeah, I know this is a complete inversion of people's thinking, but at the time they were all the cool kids. Their parents were loaded, so they had home computers, they had like an Atari and an Intellivision, BMX bikes. They were the snotty little brats from that you would see portrayed in the media, like in ET a few years later, right? That those were these guys, and they had this game Dungeons and Dragons. Now, the first D&D module I ever owned was Malarkey. That is wrong. You might need to correct your typo. It is Joel is better than Mike. The first D&D.
Wait a minute. He's talking about Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Ban him. What are you
I know.
crazy?
It's thin. You were on thin ice, Malarkey. No, I will say this about Mike and about Joel. A lot of the best material when Joel was the host was Mike's writing. So, but I'm not saying Joel didn't do good stuff. I'm just saying that Mike wrote great stuff. Joel's delivery was so much better.
The show in general was, in my opinion, objectively better when Joel was on screen.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Mike's guest segments, like when he was the amazing colossal beast.
What happened to TV's Frank? Like, I see it's here on YouTube, and I see them do reruns, and they never have TV's Frank, not the Frank I remember from like the early '90s. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know who you're talking about.
They have some other dude I'm completely not familiar with.
Yeah.
While I'm on this Jag, there was a show called Beekman's World in the early '90s. Do you remember that?
Yes,
So
I remember Beekman's World.
there was a female sidekick. I don't know. There was a rat sidekick, a male rat, and then a female sidekick. She played Roxy, the hooker, in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And she was also the angry waitress in Waiting.
That I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it. But I want to answer the satanic panic question because I was nuts for D&D. I just the guys talked about it. It sounded completely fascinating. I knew Lord of the Rings. I knew Fafhrd and Grey Mouser. I knew I knew Conan and of course The Hobbit and things like that. But I didn't. D&D just like tickled the right part of the limbic system, and so I got a copy of Keep on the Borderlands and a set of Dragon Dice, and I loved it, and I loved talking about it, and I loved reading the books, and I got a basic set and an expert set. I got a dungeon master's guide. I got a monster manual. My girlfriend up the street, Wendy Robinson, got me a Deities and Demigods and a monster manual too. And then one day, one of the people that I regularly played D&D with, who was this kid that attended high school when I was in middle school, Mark, apparently ideated certain attitudes in speaking with his mother, and she said, what in the hell makes you think that? And he started psychobabbling about D&D. He was one of the people who shouldn't have played D&D, and she knew that Mark came over and so she called all the parents and said, my son is going crazy because of D&D. D&D is evil. And she got the bad tracks. Bad tracks started showing up in the house, and the books went up on a shelf in the hall closet. And I was told that, my mother's words were, I believe, I don't know about this D&D stuff. And uh, every time my parents would leave the house and I would be left at home, I would go to the closet and get my D&D books down. So that was that seriously cramped. So yes, it absolutely hit me in a horrible way, and it pleased me to no end to tell my parents when I was in my late 20s and early 30s that I had become friends with the person who created Dungeons and Dragons. So yes, it absolutely impacted me. It impacted people I knew, and I I'm I'm a little bitter about it. I'm a little bitter about it, if I'm being completely honest, because my parents, who would stop strangers on the street and tell them that I was reading The Lord of the Rings when I was 6 years old and understanding it and enjoying it, were freaked out. Here's a book full of swords and magic and elves and dwarves and demons and great stories, and here's the same thing, but it also has actuary tables in it. So I'm sorry.
Look, I just want to be clear here. I don't worship Satan. All right. I do agree with a lot of the things that he tells me, but I don't worship him.
Yeah,
Just to get that clear.
that's fine. That's fine. Somebody, let's see. Great old one said, woman that ran my Sunday school told my stepmom it was satanic. My dad said, cut the crap, it's just a game. My mom and stepfather played with my brothers and I will say this, if you guys ever talk to Kyle over at Nerd Cognito, he has got real horror stories, like capital H horror stories about the satanic panic. Like, I had, at my peak as a kid, I had 2 or 3 copies of Keep on the Borderlands, 2 copies of Isle of Dread, the basic and expert books, the hardbacks that I mentioned, and a copy of Slave Pits at the Undercity. Kyle, God bless him, had just unbelievable amounts of D&D stuff that he had, like, allowances, like, I'll cut lawns, I'll do chores, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then apparently his mother got wrapped up in religious fervor, and they brought in, if I'm remembering this right, they brought in someone to deprogram him and burned all of his Dungeons and Dragons stuff in front of him.
God damn.
And made him watch.
I am so lucky that my parents were completely disengaged from me by that point in my life. That they could not have cared less if what I was doing, as long as I was not bugging them.
Yeah,
So,
by the time it seemed like forever. I mean, it always seems like forever when you're 10 to when you're 15, 16, right? Well, I guess 11 or 12 to 15 or 16, but once I get into high school, they were just like, I just, one day my mom asked me to get her a quilt. I went in the hall, I got her the quilt, I went back in the hall, I got my books out, I took them in my room, and I put them on my bookshelf. And that was the end of it. Yes, Kabuki, they burned his stuff. They burned his collection of Dungeons and Dragons books, and I believe he said miniatures. So, I hope everyone involved got a nice lung full of lead vapor from doing that when they were smelting those. But
Grenadier for the win.
Grenadier for the win, absolutely. Instant Charlie says, I came to D&D only recently, but I like to think my parents would have called other parents dumbasses. I wish mine had. Uh, but
I mean,
yeah.
I do want to, and you're totally right. I don't know anything about what you went through because my parents were completely disengaged, so I got to do whatever I wanted, and so I'm not trying to rub that in your face or anything. But I do want to say, it's a lot of people play this game online. And it's a great game. We all love it. You Just like anything else online, though, if your kids are playing with people, you need to know who they're playing with.
Oh,
There
unquestionably.
there are people who have recognized the value of role-playing games in terms of influencing younger people to what things that parents may not want them to be influenced into. That's all I'm saying. I'm not putting any religious shit on it. I'm just describing what can go on if you're not careful.
No, no, and you're absolutely right. You're unquestionably right. I mean, looking back on it, Mark was kind of a psycho. He was this wider than he was tall guy with this poofed out, frizzy, curly hair. He drove around a car that was literally filled with garbage. And I remember him getting mad because we were playing D&D one day at the house, and somebody else was DMing, and he sulked in his car over something that went in the table. And when I went out to see if I could smooth things over, because hey, 12, 13-year-old me wanted everything happy go lucky, he was peeling a can. He was peeling an aluminum can with his big thick sausage fingers. Just to, I know you can crush a can easily. I could give my girls an aluminum can and they could crush it, no problem. But he would think about tearing aluminum into a thin strip, you know. So yeah, Mazes and Monsters didn't help.
Now that was
But
based on the Dallas Egbert the third story, right? Isn't that what Mazes and Monsters was based on?
yes, it was one of the worst cases of Chinese telephone ever, because James Dallas Egbert had like stopped playing D&D by the time he engaged in self-mortality. Um,
Gotcha.
he he had a problem with pharmaceuticals. He had a problem with his with the fact that he was gay and his parents didn't accept it. He had a problem with the fact that he was 16 and in college. He was a genius level college student at 16, and he
Was that
was
Tom
under
Hanks? Was he Tom Hanks's character?
um I'm for reasons, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the movie and read the damn Mazes and Monsters book to pin down
Wait, there's a book
exactly.
too?
Yeah. Where's this piece of shit? Because yes, I own a copy of the fucking
I'm
thing.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Shouldn't have.
No, 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 no. It's absolutely right. Um,
Did I say
where is
something true?
uh
I didn't mean to.
damn it, I can't I cannot find that book, but yeah. So Rona Jaffe said when the James Dallas Egbert thing hit, and people were starting to talk about it, and the chick tracks and bad was starting to kind of congeal, her agent said, the publisher called me, they want a book about this, I'm sending you over newspaper clippings, we need this many thousands of words and we want it out by this month. And she said, I took this stuff, I rented a hotel room for a weekend and just locked in and did it. She said, I never researched the game, I never played it, I never talked to anybody, I just went by news clippings and I sent my manuscript in.
And how much money did she make off that?
No idea. No idea.
You gotta
I'm
respect the
guessing
grift.
if they gave it to her on spec, she probably made scale. But and Camelot Gaming, you bring up another prong of this. There was a moral panic against role-playing games in the 90s because of White Wolf. I am going to come back to this, but I'm going to mention you are correct. Like looking back, if there was someone with if my girls regularly had played D&D at that young age, and there was someone like Mark, I would be like, well, I would probably take the middle way. Hey, I don't mind you guys playing D&D. He's never coming back to our house again. That guy seems very unstable. That guy seems really not okay. So find someone else to play D&D with. I'll sit down and play D&D with you. But you're absolutely right. So Camelot Gaming mentions the moral panic in the 90s. Now, I was doing anything other than Vampire the Masquerade. It all seemed very frou-frou to me, and it still does. I think it probably got it a little bit worse because it immediately attracted the LARP crowd. You know, I mean, it's one thing to sit there with Cheeto dust on your fingers and, you know, a sheet of graph paper and say, you know, I'm Lord Darkspawn, I cast magic missile. It's another thing entirely when basically you're dressed up like a bunch of satanic cultists and walking around a place talking about how you're going to stab somebody, you know. So maybe that impinged on people a little bit more.
I have to say the LARPing thing, I've never crossed into that. I just don't think I've got the discipline for it. It seems like a lot of physical work that I'm not into to do the LARPing thing. But I do remember my smartass brother and I did consider the idea of going to a Vampire the Masquerade. I think that was, they did live action of that, right?
Yeah.
We were gonna find 1970s Count Chocula Halloween costume bibs and wear them to a one of those things.
That's great. That is awesome. I wish you could have done that.
I wish we could have too. It's probably for the best that when we were younger, we didn't, young adults, we did not live in the same city, so we would have gotten each other into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Malarkey mentions wish you could have gotten the chick track. So when in 2023, when I went up to Lake Geneva for Gary Con, when you guys out there in the audience made that happen, I got invited to game with Heidi Gygax and her husband Eric, and that was largely how I started to get to know them a little bit better. But as part of our swag bag for gaming at their house, like there was the module we played, there were some dice, there was like an extra convention only module thing, but they ordered enough of those chick tracks, Dark Dungeons, that we all got a Dark Dungeons chick track. So it's somewhere around here on a shelf. I have a copy of Dark Dungeons.
I have to say that I saw, I don't know how I came into possession of the chick tracks that I had in the 70s. They were just around the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
They get put on your mailbox. They get left on your front doorstep, just laid on the sidewalk in front of your house.
But it was like I feared to look, but I couldn't turn away. Like I loved those things. I mean,
early on, back me up on this. Early on, Jack Chick was a really good artist.
I never
art
noticed.
Was good.
I mean, yeah, he's very representational. He could do a regular, like he could have done a comic strip, like whatever, I mean, it's very representational. I never noticed the change in the artwork, so I might not be the connoisseur that you are, but the D&D one was freaking amazing. Just completely based DM.
Your I wanted to date the DM. God, she was hot.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. You want me to come? Sure, absolutely. I'll be right over. I am not even lying.
She had that 70s.
She had the straight bangs and
Mary Jane. She looked like Mary Jane from Spider-Man, kind of.
She had that hateful but hot expression on her
Oh yeah.
face all the time. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But
Uh
you get those things and you're not sure. I mean, I think at the time I was around 7 or 8 years old when I started seeing those things, and I was just like I was Catholic, so I did that we didn't get any kind of shit. Everything was boring. But I saw these other things floating around, and I was like, wow, this is I don't know. There's something about this. It's not like it's dumb, but the just the sheer creativity for this guy to put this much effort into this.
yeah.
You got to respect it.
And I mean, he was Chick was like he was ecumenical in his hatred. Absolutely he was like the Pope is the Antichrist. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put like if the tract is even remotely pop culture related, I'm gonna put a list in the back of everything that's sending you to hell, and it was rock and roll music, video games, role playing games, you know, promiscuous behavior, whatever the hell that was supposed to be in Jack Chick's mind. But
It's like the
yeah,
whatever um, Hillsboro Baptist Church or whatever it is in Kansas. Uh,
Westboro, yeah,
Westboro,
the
yeah. We actually
Westboro.
one of the bands that I was in actually wrote a song called Fred Phelps about that guy. I have recordings of it.
That's awesome. I would love to hear them someday. Kabuki Kid says uh she's a mime for Halloween. Don't be mean to mimes. No, I will not. I'm gonna put you in a glass box. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was a crazy time with the moral panic, and I'm glad it it's so over now that it's overdone. And, not talking about the moral panic because we all suffered some injury from that. It was it's just it's come out the other side that, like, moms will proudly tell about their kids playing D&D. It's so.
I know that's such bullshit too because I remember getting my ass almost beat up for even playing in the 70s and 80s, and now girlfriends are playing it.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's like you look at the D&D horror stories or the D&D triumph stories, and it's like my girlfriend played D&D, and it took her a while to convince me to do it. If my girlfriend, other than Wendy, however you are out there, I hope you're well. If I had dated a girl in middle school and she had been like, I want to go play D&D, she wouldn't have gotten the second D syllable there. I want to go play D, and I would have been like, let's go right now. We're going, boom,
Dude,
let's go.
I got accused of false advertising by the girlfriend, going from
Yeah, tell us that. Tell us
she
that
she,
story.
I was playing in bands in a college town,
Mm-hmm.
and we met and we were together, and we decided to eventually, a couple of years later, move in together in a different city. And so I stopped playing music and I started pulling out all my D&D books. And I'd had the whole Kurt Cobain page boy hair, played guitar in a band that was got gigs around town and stuff, had recordings and stuff. And then she's like, what the hell is this shit? Oh, this is Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to love it. It's like, this is false advertising. This is not who I was interested in.
Yeah. Hang on, sorry. I'm responding to chat
Camelot.
here. Someone was saying, I tried starting a D&D club in my high school hometown, and half the teachers were afraid I was going to try teaching the students witchcraft. To which I would have said, "Please, witches are an NPC class, and I, as the DM, don't let players use witch spells." So that's what I
Daniel
would have said.
Daniel says he was an oddball. He played D&D and was an all-conference football player in high school. Well, I was not all-conference anything, but I did actually wrestle as well as play in D&D, and I did theater because theater chicks are easy. So that's why I did
Well,
that.
there you go. And we can't really argue with that. Odd has a story for us. Odd says, I'm glad I wasn't alive for that. He asked her mom about it because she was in high school when all that stuff was happening. Go to hell. Odd. Let me just tell you what, straight up. If your mom was in high school, that means you're like 8. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I just never. Honestly, I have to. I'm not trying to rub it in or anything, but I never experienced any of that shit. Like there was
Yeah.
not one, and I
It
played all the time, and there was not one adult or anyone. We went to Catholic church. I mean, it's not like we didn't go to church. No one ever had a problem with any of that shit ever.
yeah.
I'm actually surprised. I've heard of this stuff, but I was never. I don't know. Maybe it's my parents' hippie upbringing or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, Odd Scimitar got me. Joke's on me. He was adopted. Okay. Fair play. Um, let's see. I was talking oh yeah, we got odds quote there. I want to turn that.
Great old
Nope.
ones here is talking about it, teaching his kids, and I think we played with one of his grandkids in one session. I want to say, I think it wasn't your son. I don't think. I think it was one of your grandkids hopped on and played a fighter for us or something one session, and then was like, "I'm not playing with these old dudes anymore."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thrill of playing the polish of the thrill of playing can kind of come off a little bit when you look around and you're surrounded by this basically like the
Yeah,
you know oh wow, so what do you like, a strong man or an ogre? I'm a fairy princess.
his oldest
I
grandson, he
see.
says, who's 13. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, Stoic Army Painter, are there any good WW2 RPGs? It's Army Painter. If there are, I think they're going to be indie publishing. I can honestly, you know what? I don't know if he's still out there. Maybe Don McVitie is out there in the chat, and he can lend a little insight. But I don't think there were any major ones. I think you would probably have to start with something like Twilight 2000 or Phoenix Command or something like that, and then work backwards in terms of tech to build a World War II game. If you're a gun bunny, if you just kind of don't care, then you can probably use like
Hey, Bill. Uh,
yes.
I'm seeing here my 5 seconds of internet research. I'm seeing a rando posting on a message board, so highly reliable. That says that there was a World War II role playing game that FASA came out with called Behind Enemy Lines in 1982.
Wow. Okay. So probably right around the same time as BattleTech, so it probably just fell away. But there you go. And yes, Recon was based on Vietnam. But yeah, that's it. FASA had some weird licenses. They actually made the last Starfighter war game, like mini war game, not mini as in miniatures, but like a pocket game,
Was that
eh,
successful? I mean, I watched it, but was that a big hit? I don't remember.
no, not.
Okay.
I mean, I liked it. I liked it when I was 14 or 15, whenever it came out. I liked
The Sword and the Sorcerer. I Have you watched that?
yes,
So it's not good. I mean,
it,
there's some
it's
cool parts, but
it's not good.
when you watch it as an adult, you start to figure out why you liked it when you were 13.
Yeah. It's the book. I read the book. I read the novelization. It is lurid and inappropriate for my age when I read the book. Let me just tell
Right.
you that.
There you go.
I was like, they let this get published, and I just checked this out at the library. Oh my god. Um, but
Well, I mean, I'm stumbled into my parents' like hippie stash of books. Like I'm finding Animal Farm and Portnoy's Complaint. You know,
right. Um, yeah, that was Sword and the Sorcerer. Didn't it have Sid Haig as the Dark Sorcerer? I think so. I think
guy that played
last
Bull on Night Court played this sorcerer. I don't know if that's Sid Haig.
Richard Mall. Richard
Yeah,
Mall was his
yeah.
name.
That
Yes.
that's the guy who played this the sorcerer and the Tri Sword. the shooting tri-sword.
Yes. Could fire its blades from either side. Yeah. Let me tell you kids something. Okay, so I'm gonna get my old man pants on with this. And anybody who's say half my age or a little bit younger, um you don't know um what you missed in the 80s with the science fiction and fantasy section in mom and pop video stores. Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin, The Dungeon Master, Beast Master, The Sword and the Sorcerer, Krull. Help me out here, Gonzalo.
I mostly bought D&D books. I'm pretty ashamed. Well, I'll tell you, I did discover uh, Earthsea, which I implore everyone to read. If you have not read Earthsea, I know it's in the young adult It's called young adult. I don't care. It's an amazing fantasy trilogy. That and I'm almost ashamed to say that I, for a long time, was reading Xanth novels in high school. So that's what I was into. Not a good resume.
The expression on my face, I'm cringing.
I know, I know. I'm sorry.
That's
It
okay.
it didn't affect my ability to play. I can still play even despite my yeah, Earthsea basically destroyed my interest in crap like Xanth. I was
Yeah.
reading
Well,
that. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say good.
I took a course like in a you know, you when you pick the courses of what's it called, you it's not like a standard course in high school, but it's a course you get to pick.
An elective.
Elective, yes, correct. So I took an elective which was science fiction and fantasy literature, and the teacher I had introduced me to Earthsea. He begged me to stop reading Xanth and start reading stuff like Earthsea, and I read Earthsea and was just like, oh, I was consuming crap before, and I already knew Lord of the Rings, but I hadn't read it since I was much younger, and
Mm.
I was sort of out of it at the time, and so I was just like, oh, these are easy books to follow. Gore the movie was an MST. I think Gore is a Piers Anthony character, right?
No. Gore is a place. Wow, how do I describe this without losing my channel? Gore is a series of books written by John Norman, and it is a counter Earth. Basically, it's exactly across the solar system from us, so we can't see it. And the first book starts out almost like a pastiche of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Mars novels. The guy kind of by thought and study sends himself to Gore, and it's a brutal society. The first book kind of shows that it has this misogynistic. And look, I'm not using that to
I
like
like it
this.
already.
I don't like it, so I'm going to call it misogynistic. No, that's the society basically is subjugate women, enslave women. Women
Gotcha.
are less than humans. But here's the thing. Norman explains it by saying all the women on Gore know that this is the right and proper and natural way to be, so it's fine.
Gotcha.
Kind of like, well, yes, she looks like she's 6, but she's a 5,000-year-old demon actually, so it's okay. It's same mindset.
There was I do want to. This is a real reach here, and it's garbage as well. However, I did actually like the Blue Adept series better than Xanth. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was also Piers
No.
Anthony. He was churning that crap out. It was a world where you had two dimensions, and you had a science dimension and a fantasy dimension. And
Okay.
the main character was a slave in the science dimension where he had to compete in basically in competitive games on what amounted to really a holodeck, computer generated games to compete for freedom. but he was a slave in that dimension. But on the magic dimension, he was the blue adept, meaning there were different. It was like different colored wizards, and he was one of them. And there were all kinds of intrigue on that side as well. And it was kind of interesting because he was very powerful in the fantasy dimension and a slave in the other one, but his
Hmm.
problems were uh, arguably much greater in the world where he was much more powerful, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
But it
gotcha.
was
I
garbage. It
gotcha.
was not good. You don't
Well,
need to read it. I'm just telling you
okay.
about it.
That's fine. But so the first book was like, ooh, yeah, there's some scenes here, but it's a good adventure. From the second book forward, it was just it was just nothing but that. No, nothing. It's like he was like, oh well, this clearly appeals to people. So you know, dozens of, I don't know how many books there are, but from that point forward, that it was just like, did I mention that women really like being under like slave conditions to men, because that's how this world is. And in fact, here's a whole scene, you know.
I
And
mean, that's
periodically he would have women from Earth would get mystically portaled over there, and they,
I mean, it's as
they,
bad as having a Mary Sue movie or whatever. You don't want
yeah,
to,
yeah,
you don't
it
want, it's
was,
the same shit, just reversed.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty terrible. And they made two attempts at making movies about gore. There was one, maybe even both had Jack Palance, because in the
Oh,
70s and 80s, if you were making a sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy movie and you needed a bad guy, you had to have Jack Palance in it. Believe it
what about Frank Langella?
or not. No, 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 no. Langella wasn't in it. I mean, surely he had some stinkers, but yeah, no. Langella was not.
No, I knew he wasn't in it. I was just saying if you needed a bad guy, he'd do pretty well too in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah. Langella was all right. Although I will say, I liked Frank Langella as Perry White in the otherwise not great Superman reboot in the mid 2000s. I thought he did a very admirable job in
Was
that.
that Superman Returns?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Superman Returns. Bob hit on something. Whoops. It was much worse than Stephen King's subject matter. Yes, yes. Um, and that is also true. Gorians, Goreans, Gorians, they call themselves. They have newsletters, they have get-togethers. Um, just avoid at all costs. Do not touch.
Langella was also amazing in The Ninth Gate.
That is a criminally underrated movie. The Ninth Gate is a supremely creepy film. And you do yourself a favor, guys. See, rent it, get a DVD, the director's cut. The Ninth Gate is, if you like stuff like The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby, particularly, but do give it a look. Do give it a look.
Definitely similar to Rosemary's Baby,
Yeah,
just European,
very much so.
not New York, less New Yorky, more European style.
Yeah, yeah. But it would have fit in very nicely in the 70s with Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, The Exorcist, Beyond the Door, um, things like that. We I'm kind of clowning on them, but back me up, Gonzalo. Did we not have some supremely creepy horror movies in the 70s?
I mean, The Exorcist. Yeah. I mean, Damien, The Omen, The Exorcist. Um, there was some crap too, like to the devil a daughter, or or something like that. With
Yeah, yeah,
there was some weird stuff, but yeah, we did have some good stuff too. I
yeah.
got in on a lot of Food of the Gods. I don't know if you'd classify that as horror or not. It was a Roger Corman joint uh,
Yes,
about.
it was an AIP. You know what's freaking weird? I watched a clip of that the other night. the final rat attack on the cabin.
Yes.
Just literally last night or the night before, I watched that clip on you. I was just like, food of the gods. Tappity, tappity, tappity. Oh, yeah, there's that scene. And I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, you
But
talk
yeah,
about being exposed to inappropriate shit when you were young. I'm not even kidding. Like the time that I'm talking about, third, fourth grade, my father was passing away when I was young. He was ill, and so I had a babysitter. I had a '70s babysitter. So almost enough said. They like we went. Nobody cared in the '70s. R-rated movies.
yeah,
I saw like Blackula, Tommy in like third grade with my babysitter.
yeah.
So
My kinder trauma when I was young was a short film, and you guys, you can find this on YouTube. I've talked about it before. Is is Operation X-70. Bomb scare movies were another big thing from the 60s and 70s. Like, I remember being 5 or 6 and watching Failsafe with my dad. Like, I'm sitting in the living room watching Failsafe, you know.
I don't know that one.
Failsafe is essentially the Soviets decide to try out a new long range jamming system, and they send false navigation and permissive access link codes to American nuclear bombers, and they turn and start their ingress into the USSR. They realize what they've done. They call the Americans and they're like, we accidentally did the Third World War. And so the Americans are like, we kind of can't tell them to turn around, you dummies. That's not how these work. We designed this whole system so that will never work. So over the course of the movie, you get it's the American president played by Henry Fonda.
Really?
His interpreter was played by a young Larry Hagman. The Secretary of State was played by Walter Matthau. It's a really, it is a really dark film. It is a really, really dark
Walter
film.
Matthau is the
Yes.
Secretary of State.
Yeah. So basically, they help the Soviets shoot down or they recall as many of the bombers as they can, and by basically saying, here's how you defeat their countermeasures, they're able to help the Soviets shoot all of them down except for the plane that's headed to Moscow. And the Soviet premier,
I've seen this now that you're saying it.
the Soviet premier says, look, if you drop a bomb on Moscow and then just kind of shrug and go, our bad, that's not going to work. And so the American president says, I will drop a nuclear weapon on New York City.
Okay. I do remember seeing this movie now.
And it basically ends with the bombs falling on Moscow and New York. So yeah, that impinged on my brain. But Operation X-70 was one of those. It was like 1972, and it was either I believe it was a French or Portuguese animated movie about a chemical weapon that accidentally gets released on a fictional non-aligned third-party country that mutates everyone in the effect of the chemical weapon release. Now, I didn't understand it was parody when I was 4 years old and I saw this. It was just a scary cartoon to me. But basically, it mutates the people who are affected by the weapon depending on their nationality and their philosophy. So, like, when they test it on, it is strongly implied but never said, when they drop it on targets in Vietnam, it turns all of the Vietnamese that are affected by it into contemplative Buddhists. They just become completely pacifist, and then they accidentally release it on a Western country, a tiny little European a country accidentally, and they all basically become classical what is it the romance period, Angels. And it is it's really, really, really strange, really, really, really weird little animated movie. But again, I'm seeing this. I'm like, this is really creepy. I'm going to have nightmares about this. I never knew what it was called, and I only found out a couple of years ago what it was called because somebody's user avatar on a forum I read had a still from the cartoon, and I was like, I threw it up on social media and was like, somebody tell me where this is from. And they're like, yeah, this is from Operation X-70.
Oh, I love
So,
that when that happens. Did you ever see the Quester tapes?
God, that sounds familiar, but no, I don't think I did. Or if I did, I don't remember it.
It was a 70s it was a TV movie, I want to say. I don't know if it was a pilot or just a TV movie. It was Gene Roddenberry, and it was um, an android who looks human. Who I think there's like just been a chain of these androids throughout human history somewhere in a cave, and he's I don't remember his goal, but his name is Quester, and it's a early prototype of Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. If you ask me personally, that's what it was. I
Okay.
It was decent. I liked it. I mean, once again, I'm 6 or 7 years old at the time.
One of the things and this is like shucks, I'm sure it's probably not very good, but maybe you remember this because I actually did a YouTube that, or it was mentioned in the YouTube short where I talked about Metamorphosis Alpha when I dropped that today, was the Star Lost. Have you ever seen that one?
I have not. The Star Lost.
Star Lost, basically, it stars Keir Dullea, of course, Dave Bowman, 2001.
Right.
But the Star Lost, he wakes up from cryogenic sleep in a massive, massive like they kind of vary it. Like sometimes they shoot outside to imply that's how big the ship is, that like there's an environment that's so big it looks like it's just outdoors. And then there's other times when they show like a little spaceship flying around and it looks like maybe it's a few hundred meters, but he wakes up in a generation starship where over the years the crew have forgotten their mission and new generations have been born and died in the ship. So that's the only world they know, as this huge generation starship just drifts through space. He, in the pilot, finds the computer, the master control computer, and has full knowledge of what he's supposed to be doing, but he's got to explore this world to try and right the ship, but they never did. Um it had one season, it's like one season and then two unproduced episodes, and that was it. But it was a product of Canadian TV, so it was never released
Oh,
really wide here in the States.
Scanners was filmed in Canada, by the way. Great, great, scary film. Um, you're reminding me, that plot sort of reminds me of like a little bit of, not exactly, but sort of Silent Runnings. That was um,
Silent Running, yeah,
the Silent Running.
that was a that was a
Bruce Dern.
so yeah, Bruce Dern. Gonzalo, have we talked about the good bad quadrant? I
I
feel like
don't
we have.
know. Is
Okay.
that a system for measuring things, or?
It is a system for measuring. So I've talked to the audience about this a little bit. The good bad quadrant is basically movies can be loosely categorized into four categories. There's good movies. 2001: A Space Odyssey, um, Unforgiven, uh, uh,
John
you know,
Belushi Wired.
you stop that. But I, I don't know, Gone with the Wind,
Right.
Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, good movies. Uh, there are bad good movies. So what makes a movie a good movie? There are many different things, but basically it it is high concept. It sets out to be a good movie. It has all the elements to be a good movie. It succeeds in everything it sets out to do, pleases the audience, turns a profit, is critically acclaimed and beloved. A good or a bad good movie is a movie that has all of those things but fails in a few critical areas, but it does not fail because of bad fidelity. And a perfect example of a bad good movie is Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. Incredible production qualities, incredible acting, cast, budget, and it is as boring as watching paint dry to some. Now, a I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm looking it up. I wasn't familiar with the 1980 epic American epic Western film written and directed by Michael Cimino. Okay,
Yes.
Chris Christopherson. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to get a little up to date on
No,
what
that's
that
okay.
was.
It is about the Johnson County Wars, so this may actually be in your wheelhouse. I know you've talked about not liking Jayhawkers before.
No, I am one.
You are one. No,
Yeah,
it's um people from
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have
Missouri.
been. I would have been riding on Josie Wales' place and cutting his family
Right.
down. That's what we did.
Okay. So that is an example of a bad good movie. Now I'm going to say something here, and I get a lot of hate for saying this when I bring it up. Blade Runner started out as a bad good movie. It did not resonate with people. It did not do well at the box office. It vanished pretty quickly. It became a good movie by dint of word of mouth and fan base.
I
It
got another one for
became
you in that category. The 13th
give me
Warrior. Oh, I'm sorry.
13th. No, 13th Warrior. I think that's fine. Then there are good bad movies. There are movies that they're just schlock, but we love them. That maybe they don't have a great budget. Maybe they just, that something just they're dumb fun. A good bad movie would be something like I don't know, a good bad movie. Any of the raunchy teen comedies from the 80s are good bad movies.
Straight to Hell.
Could be. There are movies that become good bad movies, and Camelot Gaming is talking about one there. And then there's the fourth category, bad movies. There are bad movies. There are movies that they're badly made. They're made, the people making them know that they're schlock. They're not, they know that they're going to bomb. They know that they're not going to be well received, whether it's because of editing, budget, whatever. And that's where stuff like you know
I Spit on Your Grave.
I spit on, well, yeah, probably. I Spit on Your Grave. Plan 9 from Outer Space, Manos the Hands of Fate. Things like that are bad movies. And you take something like Scanner. Scanner is a good bad movie. Or Scanners is a good bad movie. Mother Jugs and Speed, just stuff we mentioned tonight. That is a good bad movie. Smokey and the Bandit is a great bad movie. There's nothing in Smokey and the Bandit car go fast, car jump over things. Ha ha ha. That is literally the plot of Smokey and the Bandit, but it is fantastic at being that bad.
On the Right Track, I want to say. Gary Coleman. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. That is a bad. In my opinion, that's a bad movie. Even though I actually saw it in the theater.
Wait, I thought it was a TV. Was that actually in theaters? I thought that was a TV movie.
No, that was in theaters. I saw it
Wow.
at a local neighborhood theater. Boy, this guy just asking for a banning. No, Big Trouble in Little China is a good movie. It is a good movie. The only place it fell down was box office. and that alone is not enough to send it to bad movie. Now, I will say that Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension is a fantastic bad movie.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Camelot Gaming. There, yeah,
Oh,
that
Killer
is
Clowns is another fantastic bad movie.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's just a good bad movie. That's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a good
I saw
bad
that
movie.
in the theater, so
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Somehow that does not surprise me. Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China is a good movie. The Stuff is a good
oh,
bad movie.
jeez.
The Stuff is a good bad movie. But when we talk about, there are films that go outside of this, that just kind of orbit around this and can never be quantified like this. Like Koyaanisqatsi, it refuses to be categorized. The entire Catsy series. Although if you said no, that we are not allowing for outside, then I would put them in good. Um, any iteration of the Blob is a good bad movie. They're good bad movies. Ernest Scared Stupid is a bad movie, but it is a good bad movie. Toxic Avenger are fun, good bad movies. No, I am not going through Restream. I am this is StreamYard PML. But yeah, it can sometimes block things. Every Highlander sequel is bad. Yes, that is objectively correct. Everyone look at what Camelot Gaming is doing. That's the correct thing to do.
I've never watched. I knew enough to never watch any Highlander sequel. Now I did watch the TV show, but just because to have something on, it was never. I was never like, oh, this
Sure.
is really good. But it was, I mean, back then we only had so many choices for things.
90s fantasy and sci-fi television was a mood. It
Flash,
really
the
was.
live action Flash TV show. They tried to go kind of dark at the beginning. They tried to make it like gothic Flash because Batman had just come out.
Yeah.
But it had Mark Hamill as the jokester, I want to say, is what that character was.
I
The prankster.
I honestly don't remember. I know there was a bad guy hunting the Flash. They did a paintball episode of the Flash. There was a bad guy hunting the Flash, and his gun was a laser tag gun, and people thought he was just another
That sounds like
paintballer.
That sounds like Mirror Master to me.
And like his gun actually ended people's life if it hit them. And which would have just made it a regular gun. Why they had to stunt on paintball, I don't know, but they did.
I don't know if they were opposite of each other, but this is how stupid I was. I was watching that Flash show instead of Twin Peaks at the time, so I was not making the best choices.
Well, we all make mistakes. Dean Cain came into my record store, and he was a cock holster. He was.
What, Superman and Lois? The Lois and Superman guy?
Yes.
I never watched any of that show.
Yeah, they were filming part of it at Universal Studios Orlando, and he was in the store, and I walked up to him and I said,
"You're a cock holster."
Yes, I did. That was exactly what I told him. I just got it out of the way immediately. No, I walked up to him and started to speak, because when you work in a corporate record store in a shopping mall, you pretty much have to walk up to everybody and ask them if they need help finding something, because it could be a shopper from district, or somebody from district could be sitting out in the concourse watching you.
Jeez.
So I walk up and I start to speak to him, and he snaps at me. Yeah, I play Superman. And I was like, Cool. Let me know if you need any help.
In the most ass Superman series ever, based on me
Yeah.
never watching it. Just the fact that it was Lois and Superman, I never watched it, so I'm just assuming it's not good. It was
Yeah.
popular though, I
So,
think.
two things came up. He had gone down to he had his girlfriend with him, wife, I don't know. He had purchased her long stem red roses and a box of Godiva chocolates. His long stem red roses were in a tall shopping bag that was gilt outside. It was like gold foil coloring outside. And as he was moving around the browser, apparently the edge of the bag sliced the tops off of the roses. And then when he was checking out, apparently he left his bag of Godiva chocolate at the register. We closed the store. It was still there. Dean, if you're watching this, it was fucking delicious. All of us at store 204 in the Florida Mall enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'm jealous of that experience, not that particular one, but just the experience of working in a record store in the mall. I worked at a yogurt place in the mall, so that was not cool in any way, shape, or form. So
Yes, the record store days. I could. This is allegedly a TTRPG live stream show. I could probably sit here
hey man,
until
you
3 or
asked me to come on, all right? You knew it. You knew what this was going to be.
I knew what this was going to be. I knew what this was going to be, but um yeah, no, I could tell some stories about the record store. It was when it was good, dude, there was no place I would have rather have been. When it was bad, it was like being shackled to iron hell. It was you know,
Were the
it
employees cool
was.
with each other? Did you guys hang out?
Yes, I made a few friends that were friends for many years. Some people were just like seasonal hires. Like I'm just working here. I'm starting college in the fall, and I'm leaving state like in August. So yeah, but there were people that I was friends with for years that I got to know there. Um,
I
but
couldn't have
yeah, it
done your
was.
job, I don't think. I would have been too much like Barry from High Fidelity. I think that's the character's name, the Jack Black
Was that the
character.
Moby looking guy?
No, I think Barry. Well, I no, I think whoever the Jack Black character was, that would have been me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you can't be that at at the mall.
don't don't be Jack Black, please.
I know.
Don't. You don't need to be Jack Black
Well, back
ever.
then he didn't he hadn't turned into like a guy who plays himself in everything yet. That was like the
Fair
like
enough.
you know that was
Back
the
then
first.
he just got his arm shot off by Bruce Willis with a smart gun. Um,
Yeah.
if you know, you know. Uh, but yeah, no, I had a lot of fun in the music store, and yes, we did do role playing games. Employees would meet at houses. We had a pretty good campaign of Call of Cthulhu with some of the guys.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, them's was the days. But I'll save that chitter chatter for the Discord. Uh, Gonzalo, man, listen, you threw down the Jackson 5 times 2, and I can't thank you enough
It's all
for
good, man.
that. I
You're fucking
really.
a huge part of my you don't have to thank me. Seriously, dude. Everybody is here because of you. You're 90% of my entertainment budget for the year. So you totally deserve it. I'm happy for my money to go to someone real and not some corporate horse shit. So you're more than welcome.
Well, I thank you, really, I do. I want to answer Camelot Gaming's question. Um, favorite Warhammer army, fantasy or 40k. Um, so my favorite army for 40k, it's a three-way tie: Sisters of Battle, the Deathwing. I'm specifically referring to the Terminators of the Dark Angels. and Vital, just because their aesthetic is so badass. And favorite fantasy army is probably the Orcs and Goblins. Orcs and Goblins. Gonzalo, you got any?
Wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. What was the
Oh,
question?
okay. Do you have any minis? Someone was asking
Oh
if you
yeah.
had minis. Yeah.
I think I showed you a picture. You remember that picture I
Yeah.
posted in Discord of like some of the Grenadier stuff that I had painted?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
have um a piece of IKEA furniture that has like 10 drawers in it that's full of miniature. Every drawer is full of like 200 miniatures. Now, to be fair, those are all the plastic D&D miniatures. You know what I'm talking about? You buy the
Yeah.
bags. I didn't buy
Yeah.
the bags. I went in and they would what the local shop would do is they'd open the bag and then they'd price them individually and put them in a glass case. So I was in there, Caligula.
Yeah.
I think I'll have this one. So yes.
Yes. Well, there you go. There you go. Questions answered. And yes, of course he's one of us. He's absolutely one of us, guys. And thank you for stepping up and coming on the show. It was an absolute gas talking
No
to you as
problem. Thanks
always.
for having me on. As always.
Please help yourself to the craft services in the green room. You know, that's a standard joke that I do. But dude, this I you humble me. You absolutely.
You're more than welcome.
I sit at your feet, dude. I appreciate it. So I will go ahead and do this, guys. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. We're going to do some actual D&D stuff. We're going to do a deep dive. I think it is a high time that we took a look at a hoary old classic for D&D, and that is going to be the Isle of Dread. We are going to look at the Isle of Dread. That will be kind of like we start looking at it, because clearly it's a sandbox module that takes place on like an island. So I can't really just dive in. Yes, I do. I have some water crackers and some Gruyere, some very nice Gruyere cheese in the green room stoic army. But this is the part where I close down all the funny graphics on the screen and the banner and everything like that. I ask you guys to like and subscribe, and I then play this very funny song about owl bears. I love you all. Peace. Take care of yourselves.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.